Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Buzz, Fletcher and Braden combined for 48 points for Purdue. Just how do you prepare for them, and was it a case of them just being that good at making shots, or were there areas defensively where you could have tightened up?
A little bit of all of that. They are really good. 3 is outstanding. Highest usage rate player in the country. 3 and 4 combined, the 2 highest usage rate players on a team. And when it's not 3 or 4, it's probably going to be 2. And when it's number 2 finishing the possession, it's going to be a 3 most of the time. 67% of his shots going into today were from 3. I think our turnovers in the first half led to some of those 3s for number 2 and for number 3. I thought our ball screen coverage was okay at times with 3 and number 4. And wherever the ball screen is taking place, 2 is going to be on the weak side of that. I didn't think our coverage was necessarily poor in the ball screen. I thought our coverage on the weak side, where he was getting those shots, wasn't as good as it needed to be. So I think it was a little bit of all parts of what you said. They're really good. I will always say that, particularly at the rate that they were in the first half. And then I think that we could have executed the game plan better, specific to number 2. And then any coach would say they don't want to give the ball to the other team and let them score uncontested 3s in transition.
And it's with the understanding that losses are going to happen, and this is the 3rd straight game against a ranked opponent. Are there alarm bells for you, given the margin of defeat in these 3 games, about 30 points average?
Yeah. I think that in the second half at Illinois, we were dramatically better than we were the first half. I think we were down 17 in the first half at halftime at Illinois. We were not competitive from start to finish at Michigan State, in my opinion, on either side of the ball. I felt that way more after Michigan State from start to finish than I had any other game that we had played. We've tried to revamp a lot of different things in our first bye this particular week. I do think any team, not just year 1 team, I think any team that plays 3 top 15 teams in the net with 2 of them being on the road, you're probably up against it. That's the good thing about this league. I thought some of the things that we tried to revamp that we wanted to do offensively on a miss were better. On a make, had some flow to it. What hurt us the most in the first half, the turnovers, as we mentioned, but we had 0 offensive rebounds, and they had 8. And so we shot more balls than them in the second half. I understand their roster was a little different in the second half than the first half, so I don't want to discount that. But their volume of shots in the first half and our lack of volume of shots, partly from turnovers, partly from not accruing any offensive rebounds, that's where we have to improve.
Buzz, you mentioned, I think, in the preseason that you and your staff spent a lot of time over the summer kind of studying and learning the Big Ten. I'm curious now, a little more than a month into the conference season, is there anything new that you guys have kind of learned in relation to the style of the conference and roster construction, things like that?
Yeah, we spend probably just as much time transparently on roster construction as we do the tactical parts of it. I don't exclusively remember my whole answer to you on that, but I do remember the question. I would say through 10 games, there have been more mid-channel ball screens than I anticipated, and I think there's more drop coverage than I remember seeing in the study from this summer. Purdue probably has the deepest play catalog of any team that we've played, but a lot of that is going to somewhere, whether it's on the side or in the channel, it's going to end in a ball screen with 3. And I had a little bit probably better recollection of Purdue because of we played them last season. But the 6 teams that we played last year in the Big Ten, we haven't played all of those teams yet in the Big Ten. So a lot of whatever I was saying was kind of based on that. But the 10 games that we've played thus far, more mid-channel ball screens than I remember, and more drop coverage no matter the opponent than I remember.
Hey, Buzz. Purdue knocked down a season-high 15 threes today. What did you see out of your perimeter defense, and how would you kind of grade the effort on that end?
Yeah, the effort was fine. The weak side coverage was what was not good enough from an execution standpoint. I think they had 9 in the first half. They had 6 in the second half. And of the 9, I'm not sure. We count one pass threes. How many of those threes were off one pass? Whether it's ball side, typically it's not ball side. It's going to be on the weak side. Did they have to throw the one more? And so our weak side coverage was not executed at the rate that it has to be. And I don't know how many of the 9 that they scored in the first half came out of a live ball turnover, but our turnover rate was too high, which led to some of those threes. But in the half court exclusively, our weak side coverage wasn't good enough.
Hey, Buzz. Darius and Andre combined for 35 points. Just curious how you've seen them sort of respond to, those typical freshman ups and downs, and what stuck out to you with their performances today.
Well, most freshmen, as you know, they at some point they kind of hit a subliminal wall because of all that's transpired with our roster. They haven't had a chance to see that wall, and we can't allow them to feel it either. I give a lot of credit to the coaches. They've done a really good job with those two guys. Those two guys are hungry to learn. I don't think that most freshmen are as accepting of where they are and what they need as DA and Dre. I think they have special hearts. I think they're curious in regards to wanting to learn, and their work ethic has continued to improve relative to the physicality and the things that they're learning at a rapid rate through the first 20-ish games. We've been doing more skill stuff exclusively with those two guys in the mornings, and then we're doing a lot of stuff with them post-practice, playing off two. I'm more involved with the post-practice stuff, and then they're much more consistent, not just in their skill work, but also in their basketball IQ, watching, studying it, having better understanding relative to what they're doing, but also to what the opponent's doing. I think DA has a knack for getting fouled, and I think both of those guys are improving at playing off two and doing better within playing off 2 feet, whether it's for them or for somebody else. And I think, I don't know how many it was in the second half, but it was much better. I think we were 6 of 8 in the first half from the free throw line, 13 out of 17. As we've talked about, we need to figure out a way to skew our points per possession. Those two guys can do it by getting the defense in rotation. And I thought those two guys, if there was a category without me watching the game, those two guys did a lot of good things specific to that.
Hey, Coach, piggybacking off of that, how do you get Diggy more involved offensively? I know we've been in here a couple of times where it's been a nice flow for him, but on games where it's tough like that, piggybacking off of that, how do you have seen, with him, how do you get him more involved, short memory span to the next game when you have an opponent, like you said, that's so on in so many ways?
Yeah, I think the scouting report on Diggy's probably changed would be the first thing. I think when you do some of the things that he has done to help our team, they're probably going to do things to not allow him to continue to shoot and score at that volume. I think when you study some of the numbers, obviously he's our leading scorer and has by far taken the most field goal attempts on the team. I think where he's trying to figure out, and some of it happened today, the turnovers hurt him. But if you're PPP, if you're shooting more balls than points you're scoring and you don't get fouled, then it becomes very inefficient. And so how can we help him be more efficient? And then within that efficiency, can we find a way with the attention he's drawing to create for someone else? And I think the intent that he is trying to learn that, considering he's always just been a microwave scorer, he's been really good at it. Like, he's been asking to come to the stuff we've been doing with DA and Dre, and I'm like, No, we're doing other things for you. It's the combination. And so I think it's a little bit of how can we get him going per se, but as much as how can we get him going, we don't need the other four guys just looking at him going, hey, Diggy, are you about to shoot? So it's a little bit of the balance of that. Yes, sir.
Buzz, that early 13-0 run that they had with you guys who don't have a lot of firepower, what does a run like that do that early in the game?
I'm just trying to call timeouts as fast as I can. 13-0, I probably need to call a timeout before that, transparently. And I'm becoming more aware relative to time, relative to score. I want to, if we can, I want to be able to have timeouts for specials, but I also know that we need to have timeouts in order to stop a run. And so I think the timeout, the initial timeout, was the right timeout. Arguably, call it sooner. Some of that timeout was the 2 turnovers we got before the first media timeout. Some of that is the newness of what we were doing. Some of that was the turnovers that led to the naked threes that they were shooting. So is a timeout necessarily going to stop that? So obviously it's similar to how we started against Georgetown. You don't want to start a game and the avalanche has already started and then you're playing from behind from that point forward. So I'm trying to do better with that, similar to Michigan State, how the game started. Stop. We have to stop. And within the stop, should we have mass substitutions? Should we completely go against whatever we were just doing offensively or defensively? So there's, within the decision-making matrix of what that is, I've tried to be more open to calling them relative to runs.
And you mentioned earlier their offensive rebounding. They dominated the glass from tip to buzzer. What do you tell your guys moving forward?
Yeah, that was what I told them at halftime. I haven't seen what it is for the game. So our defensive rebound percentage for the game was 63%, and our offensive rebound percentage was 24%. And arguably, through the first 9 games, that's been the best thing that we've done. I think we were 5th in the league in offensive rebound percentage, and I think we were 6th in defensive rebound percentage. Having said that, the last 2 games we've played 2 of the better rebounding teams in the country, but at halftime we had 0 offensive rebounds. I think we had 1 team offensive rebound, which just meant they touched it and it went out of bounds. In the second half, it was better, but we shot more balls in the second half, partly because we got more offensive rebounds, but we have to salvage on both sides of the ball. We're making progress at times when the ball's on the ground, but we have to stop when the ball's in the air, giving it to allowing the other team to get it as often as they are. And when we shoot it, we need our shots to be more predictable so we have a chance to get it at a higher rate.
Hey, Coach. Today, the first game with the students back on.
I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I should have said that at the start. I know I don't ever have an opening statement because I just try to answer the storylines of the narratives you guys are creating, and maybe that's wrong. I was very appreciative. And without talking to our players, because after I waved to my wife and daughter after the national anthem, I don't really pay attention. And I know I'm the new guy here, but I thought the ambiance, the pink shirts, the crowd, the students, it speaks to the history of this program. It speaks to the support and the care of the community on and off campus. I thought it was tremendous. I thought it was the best environment of any game that I have coached in Xfinity thus far. And so considering we need to be way better in every possible way for them to show up on Sunday afternoon. I know everybody went to church, but hurry up after church and get over here. I thought it was elite. Yeah. Is that your question? Sorry, I wasn't trying to be sarcastic.
We'll have players in next. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys.